Welcome to the Solid Verbal. And now, Dan and Ty.
Dan Rubenstein, welcome back, my friend. This is Rivalry Week Preview Part Duh. You know, we don't need a nickname for a week like Rivalry Week, do we?
No, we do not. This is what it is. There's no changing things. There's only appreciating things, Ty. That's why we are here.
I'm excited to be back with you. You are still out there in parts unknown on the West Coast. Our next episode that we do on Saturday night at midnight when we recap everything that Week 14 had in store, that will be back from your normal studio. But at present, for those of you watching on the YouTube, or maybe even for some of you listening at home, if it sounds a little bit different, give us a little bit of grace. We like to visit family too on this Thanksgiving holiday, wherever you may be out there. If you do celebrate it, happy Thanksgiving. We are doing these episodes a little bit early so that you're locked and loaded and ready to go for all the action that we have in store for us this upcoming weekend. Go back and listen to part one, which dropped on Tuesday, if you want to listen to our thoughts on the big three games that are taking place on Friday. On today's episode, we're going to do our best to go through everything else. There are a lot. We will not have an opportunity to talk about all of them, but certainly the biggest ones, the ones with playoff and conference ramifications, even those that are just of interest to you and I, Dan. We're going to do our best to try and get through all of those and much, much more.
I am already pacing myself, Ty. I'm planning lunches. I'm planning early workouts. I'm planning coffee schedule. I'm planning human time. It's all happening, Ty. This is why we're here. This is why we're here to completely drench ourselves in the college football rivalry jacuzzi.
Indeed. And one final bit of housekeeping. We talked about this on yesterday's episode, but Run the Board, which is notably our pick'em game where you pick 12 games a week against the point spread. We have been having a season-long contest with the intention of the top 5 getting spots on our Board of Trustees. We've done this now for the last couple of years. What we have not done at all since we started doing this game is offer a golden ticket. Last year, we started up with one big prize per month. We're going to offer that. Whoever wins gets a $500 Visa gift card. That's, we've done that before. But what we haven't done before...
Don't gloss over that number. $500 ahead of the holidays.
That's a lot of potatoes. Where's my sound?
Wow, that's a lot of potatoes.
That is a lot of potatoes.
Yeah.
You can do something with that. But in addition, you get a golden ticket. You get a spot on next year's Board of Trustees. And because we are going to do a season end meeting with our existing board, whoever gets the golden ticket is going to be part of that as well. How about that?
Man, you get on the board, you cut the line with Rivalry Week excellence. And look, we've had how many weeks leading up to this point? 13 weeks. It seems like you should be able to get better at picking games, Ty. But As Ty Hildenbrandt, who lives and breathes this all year long.
I didn't at all. I got worse.
He can't manage to stay out of his own way. So you just kind of have to listen to Ty and say, I can do better than that. I'm not afraid to compete. I can do better than that.
I am like the Auburn of college football handicappers. I'm close, but I'm nowhere near where I need to be. So I don't know if that means the board fires me in the offseason in place of somebody who's better. I don't know. We can leave that for official board internal meetings. But all that being said, this is your opportunity. All you got to do is go on out to verballers.com, sign up as a certified or premium verballer. You can also go on out to our website, solidverbal.com. You can also go to just patreon.com/solidverbal. All of those spots will get you to the right spot if you want to sign up and participate in this week's game. And if nothing more, enjoy the perks that we offer or just support the show.
Can confirm. Yeah, this is the time. If you've been reticent, if you have been apprehensive, SAT words, at least to me, this is the moment. This is your excellent time to get in it.
Dan, I didn't know if you wanted to spend the original 30 minutes that we had planned to talk through the new Oregon State coaching hire from Montana State.
Sure.
I mean, we can do a 5-hour episode if that's what it takes for you to feel like we have covered all the bases on that front. Is that still the plan here, or what are you feeling for this part 2 episode?
Yeah, I don't think anybody else is interested in much else other than that hire and how he is going to shift the access in the, I don't know, the WAC-12, the Pac-12, whatever we want to call it. No, I think it's a good hire on the surface, and so hopeful for Oregon State as they transition to this new look conference that they're one of the powers, that they can ascend to that place to become one of the powers, because I don't know. I have a lot of soft spots, unless Oregon State's playing Oregon, for Beaver football. I've had a lot of players that I've loved to watch for this team.
Brent Vigen, is that his name?
Sounds right.
He is going to be the new coach at Oregon State from what I saw earlier. So we'll keep you posted on that front, Dan. Don't know if that's gone official yet, but there have been a lot of people online talking about it.
Yep. And so if there's people online talking about it, it must be true.
It has to be true. So when it goes officially official, we will bring that up here. But in the meantime, Dan.
Dan, time, help. I need picks of the week.
We got a lot to discuss. I have playoff. I have conference championship scenarios in front of me for all four of the Power Four, and then on top of it, the American. I am ready to go if and when any of this stuff comes up in our conversation, but let's start where we always start most of the time when we do a rivalry week preview episode, and that is with the game. They call it the game. It is a very big game this year, as it is every year. High noon on Fox, Joel Klatt, Gus Johnson. Gus is going to be worked into a lather for this one because it's an Ohio State-Michigan game. It's just sort of the normal order of business. Ohio State, the number one team in the land, is on the road this year in Ann Arbor, a 10-point favorite. Michigan has won the last 4 meetings. If I said it once, I have said it 1,000 times. Michigan's win last year might have been the biggest jaw dropper that I have seen since we started doing this show back in 2008.
Yes.
Just one of those incomprehensible college football happenings that we still, frankly, don't have a great explanation for. Yeah, Ohio State went on to win the national championship, so all was well in Buckeye land, but this is the one that matters, Dan Rubenstein.
Yeah, I would say mostly all was well in Buckeye land, because after this game last season, ahead of the playoff, things escalated. Things were not great. Ryan Day's job security had to be addressed by the administration, even though he is a ridiculously good and successful coach, a national championship winning coach thereafter that conversation. But you're right, it was a strange game last year, and it has the opportunity to be a strange game this year, even though Michigan has been a better team leading up to this game, whereas they were not all that great last year. They couldn't figure out the forward pass. But, using that interception deep in Ohio State territory last year, they were able to figure out a way to, get some chicken wire and duct tape and figure out a win on the road.
That's right.
I'm very excited to see what version of Michigan we get this year, because I don't think the defense is where it's been, especially when you look at maybe the defensive tackle position that has afforded the Michigan defense so many opportunities against this Ohio State offense, that when you're able to collapse the pocket and hurry up an Ohio State quarterback, that can be very, very good, as we've seen turnovers help to decide this matchup over the years. There's a lot of talent on this Michigan team. They're dealing with some key injuries. Obviously, Justice Haynes has been out for a while. Now Max Bredesen, the fullback / H-back or whatever, he's, I think, pretty doubtful in this game after getting injured. Rod Moore is not going to be playing in this one, who has, played a pretty significant role in this matchup these past few years. Didn't play last year either, I don't believe, but came up with a big interception in 2023. So my question is just how does Michigan build a win this year? Because last year's formula was not replicable. Now, you want to say Ohio State might be a little bit vulnerable on their offensive line. At times, the run game has been less than stellar, but it seems to be moving in the right direction. The way they do this is the way they've been doing it lately, which is pounding it on the ground. I think Jordan Marshall should be in a better place. He didn't play last week. And corralling whoever is playing receiver for Ohio State and whatever their injury status is or isn't, in Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, who've been beat up. Last week, I think, was the Max Clare show against Rutgers. So it's Michigan on defense being pretty much everything, and the ability for Michigan to dictate the rhythm of this game like they've been doing. Michigan's not going to win a 45-41 game. If that's where we are, then something has gone very, very wrong with the Ohio State defense out of nowhere.
Right.
So it's Michigan's ability to dictate the terms of this matchup, which I don't feel great about. But also, Ohio State hasn't played a team like Michigan, and that's just to say a pretty good Big Ten team in a long time. This has been I'm going to finish here in just a second, Ty. I'm not going to let you jump in.
No, please continue.
We don't fully know what this Ohio State team is. I feel like we have a better handle on this Michigan team, but like neither one of these teams played Indiana. Neither one of these teams played Oregon. There's just not a lot. Michigan played USC, and that's something, but they didn't do super well. So I sort of doubt Michigan's ability to dictate terms in this one, but I'm not crazy about where Ohio State is in terms of quality competition faced. I like Ohio State here. I just can't build the case for Michigan in the offense against this defense. I like Ohio State.
I have two crazy stats, and you were pushing up against one of them. You almost stole my thunder. Thankfully, you stopped a little bit short. Do you know how many combined top 25 teams Ohio State and Michigan have played this season?
Is it 2?
The answer is 3.
3, okay. Texas.
Ohio State played Texas in week 1. That was the only one. Current top 25.
Yeah.
And Michigan played and lost to both Oklahoma and USC. Yeah. And I think you can make a very strong case that each team is playing its toughest opponent of the season. All right?
Okay.
Certainly in this rivalry game, it's a big deal, but when you add on that extra layer, I think it puts things in context. The other thing that I'll mention, and I just kind of happened upon it, I searched around. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this, and I just wanted to give it a little bit more airtime. This is the last game of the regular season, right?
Yes.
We're the full way through now.
Correct.
Julian Sayan's completion percentage is 79.4%.
Absurd.
It's absurd. If that number holds, even if it pulls back a little bit, Julian Sayan, in his first season as a full-time starting quarterback for Ohio State, will break the all-time single-season record for the highest completion percentage in the season. Right now, that belongs to your Bo Nix with a mark of 77.48%. He has that one by like 1/100th of a percentage or something like that over Mac Jones, who previously had the record at Alabama. So there are stakes here not only for Ohio State, not only for Michigan, but also for Julian Sayan in terms of the record book. I have not found a whole lot of people talking about that. His efficiency has been off the charts. His accuracy has been off the charts. Clearly, it helps to have receivers like this, a line like this. I mean, there are definitely things working to Julian Sayan's advantage. But mind you, there are a bunch of other good quarterbacks out there with really good supporting casts who don't have an 80% completion percentage. So clearly the kid is doing something right in, again, his first 12 games as a full-time starter to reach this level of just incredible efficiency. And I think, moreover, something that Ohio State can count on. The quarterback position for a while at Ohio State, I mean, it's always been fine. It's always been very good. Even Will Howard last year, we saw what he did down the stretch in the playoffs. It was far and away the best that we had seen him look all year, and he very much propelled them to a national championship. They are getting quarterback play on a much different level this year with Julian Sayan, to the extent where I feel like they can rely on the pass even more than a year ago. They had great receivers. They've always had them. But now Julian Sayan is much more of a weapon than I can remember in a good long time at Ohio State.
Yeah.
So this is exciting.
Yeah. I fully agree. Should also be noted, Ohio State's offensive line is in a healthier position than it was last season, ahead of last season's game, where they were still figuring things out. It wasn't bad. They did a good job, working the rotation guys into the lineup. Obviously, they won the playoff, but this was still relatively early on in that new look for the Ohio State offensive line against Michigan. And so, I think there were some struggles against what I think was likely a better Michigan defensive line last year because of what they were like inside. But these edge guys seem like they're killer for Michigan. Seem like that is maybe their ceiling. They have a killer ceiling. So that's going to be a huge test for the tackles who have been very good this year for Ohio State. No, there's a ton here. And like, I don't know how you feel like if Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith play. Jeremiah Smith has said he's good to go. He'll be playing. We'll see Carnell Tate's status at the time of this recording. I haven't seen any specifics. If they're both not their full selves, how much does this change the way you view this game?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay.
I don't think it does, because I think the best unit on the field is the Ohio State defense. And even if they're at half speed, I still think the second best unit on the field is the Ohio State offense.
Yep.
And so to that point, and to what you mentioned earlier, I have a really hard time building that case for Michigan. Now, famous last words.
Right.
I said the exact same thing last year, and we know what happened in that one. Hopefully for Ohio State fans, we won't see a repeat of that, but strange things happen in rivalry week and certainly in this game.
Yeah.
In Ann Arbor, which definitely plays a role here. I just think Ohio State is more than good enough to stop Michigan's ground game and to force Bryce Underwood to beat them through the air. Your question earlier, well, what's it look like if Michigan wins? It looks like a career day and a heroic effort from Bryce Underwood in order to win this game. And I just don't see that happening. So I am with you. I am on Ohio State minus the 10. And for a good friend, Jimmy, who listens religiously and asked me if maybe I would consider doing this.
Lock of the week.
Ohio State. Here it is. Here it is.
We're going to lock up Ohio State in rivalry week to get the dub, to go undefeated, and to go into that Big Ten title game against Indiana.
Couple other details that are interesting to me in this one. I really hope, for the sake of Michigan fans, that their red zone script has been a focus this week, because they have not been great in the red zone, and there are going to be moments where Sherrone Moore has to make big decisions. And ordinarily, I'd say, I don't know if field goals are going to beat Ohio State, but after last year, I think you just kind of got to shrug, because they might beat Ohio State. Who knows? The game's in Ann Arbor. The temps are in the 20s, I want to say, around kickoff. Not that this is an Ohio State team that's playing in Florida or Mississippi or something like that. That's not used to this. I just don't know how that's going to affect the rhythm of the game. If we have freezing cold quarterback hands, these are teams have played in cold weather this season. So that's not going to alter anything in terms of mindset or comfort. But that is a reality that we're going to have in this game. Whether we get a couple of drops because we've got frigid hands, I don't know. Michigan has had some drop issues this year. I like the pop that they've developed this year, but there is still something to me about Ohio State having more ways to win that I just trust more. Even on the road, I'm going to say, do you have a score? I have like 30-17.
Yeah, I have. There. I had 31-17 jotted down on my sheet.
Oh, this is terrifying. Michigan's winning this game.
It's not good news for you, and it's not good news for Ohio State fans if I'm locking it up. The only thing that I'll add here, and it's my final point, and then we're going to talk about another game at noon, but so much of the storyline coming out of the game last year was how Ohio State sort of tried to play the Michigan way to beat Michigan.
Right.
They tried to out-Michigan them and bully them, and that really wasn't their style of play. They got away from that. After that game, they obviously went on in resounding fashion to rip through the playoffs and win the national championship. I am curious to see what the game plan looks like on the Ohio State side this year, because we know what they've been very good at this season. They've brought that ground game along. They've gotten better at using it, and we will see it to some extent in this game. But clearly what Julian Sain is doing with like a nearly 80% completion percentage is the headliner.
Yes.
And I would like to see them stick to that, work within that, because they are good at it. And let's see them win the Ohio State way and not trying to play outside themselves and be something that they haven't been all year.
It's going to be fascinating. This is going to be great. I mean, the Michigan corners, I think, are up for the task. They play a ton of zone, right? That's been their thing. They build their team around beating Ohio State. And obviously the teams who have had the players to play great zone defense against these receivers last year with both Michigan, and then Texas did a nice job corralling these receivers for the most part. I can't wait. I love that it's going to be frigid temps. That feels right for this matchup. And yeah, I can't wait to watch Ohio State against a pretty good team. We haven't seen it in a minute.
I hear you. All right, let's move on. Let's go to high noon on ABC. This is Miami
Yeah.
A 6-point road favorite against the beautiful, wonderful Pittsburgh Panthers, H2P.
Ty's beautiful Pitt Panthers, yes.
My beautiful, beautiful Panthers. I want you to go first because everyone already knows who I'm picking here. I've been on Pitt in this game since quite literally the last week of July.
Yeah.
And though I wavered a little bit because Pitt wavered a little bit in the early part of the season until they kind of figured things out here with Mason Heinschel, now it seems like maybe we're back on track. So I'm going to defer to you. I'm going to take the ball in the second half of this preview because everyone already knows that I'm going to take Pitt outright. Where are you at with this game?
I'm back and forth. But
okay.
I'm glad you transitioned to this game second because this game also is going to have frigid temps at kickoff and features a team not used to frigid temps, right?
Are you using the weather doc that I sent you, the spreadsheet?
I did look at the spreadsheet that you sent me in week 14 about weather.
I don't even know how I got that. That might be from Don in our Discord, who's something of a weather buff, who might have sent that to me a long time ago, and I just had it and I didn't notice it until now. But yeah, I apologize for not sending. I know how into the weather you are. I can't believe I just found that and sent it to you now. Anyway, please continue.
Frigid temps, and I needed the 10-day, so that didn't fully help me. But frigid temps in Pittsburgh, I think it's the real feels right about 29 degrees, so a little under freezing. That's interesting to me. It's not a determining factor, but it's interesting. I think I like Pitt, and I kind of hate myself for this.
Outright or with the points?
What's the number right now? 5.5, 6 points?
6 points in favor of Miami.
I think I'm going to go outright.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to go outright because of the run defense. And the run defense, to me, what they were able to do against Haynes King and Georgia Tech last week was very impressive. Miami on the road. Miami's not especially close to Pittsburgh, so this is a very much real road trip for the Canes. I just think there is something that about Pitt that's going to make this offense uncomfortable, that will game plan really well for Miami, knows that their play calling hasn't been great, consistent all year long, knows that the running game hasn't been, they're beat up, obviously, Miami in the run game, but Pringle's good, that they should be able to focus enough of their attention on Malachi Toney to force Miami into a couple of mistakes. And though I'm not crazy about Pitt's offensive consistency, they seem to have found something on the ground lately in Boozy Turner, taking over for Des Reed, who's been beat up. And I don't know. I think there's a little bit of Pitt magic here. I think you've sold me, and I don't love Mario Cristobal in November. First time
ever, the hard sell worked on you.
I think there is something about Pitt at home. Not that there's a ton on the line for Pitt in terms of, I mean, the postseason's still very much an option, the ACC championship game, but Miami's now closer to that game, right? The ACC championship game.
I'll talk about that in a second.
And so I think Miami is going to be up for this one in a big way, but that the game's in Pittsburgh, frigid temps, the run defense, I think there's enough to like about a little bit of Panther magic here that I'm going with Pitt outright by 3, 24-21.
I love where you're thinking, man. I love where you're at here. All right. I want to call out a point that our friend Richard Johnson from Split Zone Duo from CBS brought up.
Okay.
I saw a clip of his that he posted online when he was on CBS Sports Network. But, and he's right to bring this up. Everybody dunked on Pat Narduzzi for those comments that he made before the Notre Dame game. Remember, I forget what the exact quote was, but something to the effect of like, we could lose by 100 and it wouldn't really matter as long as we win the next 2.
Yep.
Everybody joked about that. It was funny. You don't typically hear coaches say that. But Richard's point was, A, he was right. And B, we saw last week that the coaching staff was very clearly locked in on beating Georgia Tech. They very much took what Narduzzi said to heart, and they got their team ready for that Tech game, and we could expect to see more of the same now against Miami.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much them waving the white flag as them understanding the assignment here in terms of the ACC and maybe their pathway into a conference championship game. Who knows, maybe even the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. Pitt is a good team, Dan. They're not a great team, but they're a good team. They've got an exciting young quarterback in Mason Heinschel. They're also a defense that does two things really well. A, they stop the run pretty well.
Yeah.
And B, they blitz the crap out of you. And I mentioned this last week, but about 40% of the time when you drop back, Pitt's coming. So I think that puts a lot of the pressure in this game on the Miami offensive line, which makes for a super interesting matchup. You know, Miami, certainly under Cristobal, has been very solid building that offensive line. It's one of their relative strengths this season.
Oh, so it's one of the best in the country. It's definitely a strength. Not even a relative strength. Definite strength.
This is going to be a very interesting chess match to watch. Full stop. I think we're going to see a lot of quick stuff to Malachi Toney. Get the ball out of Carson Beck's hands. Get it to their best playmaker in space. He's so good after the catch. Right? That is what we're going to see a lot of in this game, I think, if they are playing it smart, knowing what Pitt's tendencies are. If I am being fair, I should also point out that I think Miami is going to do the same on Mason Heinschel. I think they're also going to dial up the pressure on the young quarterback. And to that point, Pitt's offensive line is not as good at protecting him. For example, in that Notre Dame game that we saw a couple weeks ago now, Mason Heinschel was under pressure on a little over half of his dropbacks. His completion percentage dipped to 23%. So are you saying, you're listening to this out there, I'm sure you're saying, Ty, well, yeah, any quarterback's numbers go down when they're under pressure, and that's probably true to an extent, but down to 23%, that's a pretty big dip.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. So with all that being said, I have already made my case over the months, over the last couple of weeks for the Pitt Panthers. I like the fact that they can stop the run. I do think there is a situation here where they're going to be able to confuse Carson Beck or put him in some odd situations. And I think that's the formula. I think we saw it a little bit last week. I think we're going to see it again this week from the Pitt Panthers. I think gets the dub outright. I've got it at 34-31. I should also note, and this is not intended as a dunk contest or anything like that, but we have seen Miami choke in these situations.
Sure.
It would be malpractice for me to just not point that out. So, 34-31, my beautiful, beautiful Pitt Panthers, H2P, go on and get the W. FYI, here is the current tiebreaker / championship game scenario in the ACC. If anybody's got a pen and a pad out there.
Okay.
If Virginia wins, they're in. Easy. If SMU wins, they're in. Easy.
SMU has Cal, Virginia, obviously Virginia Tech.
That's right. Pitt can get into the ACC championship game. They got to beat Miami. And then on top of it, they either need SMU to lose to Louisville or
Cal.
Virginia to lose to Virginia Tech.
Doesn't SMU play Cal?
Cal, excuse me.
Yes, you said Louisville. It's okay. We're here. It's late in the season.
Miami can reach the ACC championship game. They got to beat Pitt, obviously. They need Virginia to lose to Virginia Tech. They need Duke to lose as well. Or they need SMU to lose their game. And they need Duke to lose their game and North Carolina to lose their game. So again, it's parlay.
Okay. Yes.
Got a big time parlay. There's another set of circumstances where Duke can get into that game. I'm not going to read those off, but 5 teams right now in the ACC that mathematically have an opportunity to play in that title game, but your odds-on favorite right now is SMU and Virginia.
Great.
That's where things stand. But we're both in agreement. We're going with Pitt outright, baby.
Going with Pitt outright. And look, the case for Miami is obviously easy. I think they have the trench advantage. They have the playmaker at receiver advantage. They have the quarterback experience advantage. They're just on the road. I don't know. They're on the road, and this situation has not been kind to Miami when they get a little bit too stubborn.
Let's go to 3:30. I found online that some people call this the Cascade Clash.
Yes.
Is that a real name? I've never heard that name before in my life.
I have not heard it in conversation ever.
3:30 CBS. It is your Oregon Ducks, a 6.5 point favorite on the road at Washington. When I saw this point spread, the eyebrows went up.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went down. And then I scratched the hair on my chinny chin, Dan. I don't get this point spread.
Okay.
I don't understand this point spread. It seems too low to me. So is there like a letdown going on with Oregon after the USC game? Is there hidden strength on the Washington side, maybe that I wasn't picking up when I did my research? Why is this point spread where it's at?
I think some uncertainty around where Oregon's at health-wise on offense with the offensive line. Now, I kind of expect the tackles to play for this Oregon offensive line. The right tackle missed a little bit of time, but came back last week against USC. Certainly, the left tackle was out for a good chunk of that SC game. He got hurt, I think, in the Minnesota game early. And they lost their starting center, who's a big deal on this Oregon offensive line that's been very, very good, if not excellent this season in protecting Dante Moore outside of that Indiana game. That would be the lone exception. And then dealing with the receiver injuries. And obviously it worked out really well, but that was at home. It was against a USC defense that hasn't been great this season, and Washington's defense hasn't been great this season. But the game's in Seattle. It's a difficult place to play. Obviously, it's been a recent house of horrors for Oregon. They dispatched of Washington pretty easily last season in Eugene, but it's a tough road environment. Emotions are going to be running high. Dante Moore, I think, has improved to a pretty impressive point this season, but it's still a road spot for him where he's had some down moments this season. Not really on the road. The down moment was against Indiana, and the Wisconsin game was in the rain, and he got hurt and knocked out of that one. But I think there's still a little bit of question about how he's going to perform when these lights are bright against a good Washington team that may be able to score some points. The Oregon defense, though, is the reason why this line is a little bit odd, because Washington against good defenses this season, which has been Wisconsin, Ohio State, and who am I missing right now? Oh, Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
I don't think they've gotten to double digits in those games. Or
no,
they've scored a touchdown in those games at most.
Yeah, in the games against Ohio State and Michigan in particular, Washington scored a combined 13 points. They lost 24-6 to Ohio State and 24-7 to Michigan.
And the Wisconsin game, if they got to double digits, it was barely, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can fact check the final score on that one. So that's the question to me, is what does Oregon's defensive line do against a Washington offensive line that in those big moments has struggled to protect Damon Williams, who's obviously incredible athletically and can make something out of nothing when he needs to. But then you couple that with a beat-up starting running back in Jonah Coleman, who barely played last week, and obviously for resting reasons, Denzel Boston has beat up their best receiver. I wonder how many points Washington is going to be able to score if Oregon's defense is locked in. And I think they will be, because this Washington game is a big deal. So I don't see Washington getting to 17, 20 points in this one. Again, if Oregon's defense is locked in, which I imagine they will be. So I tend to think it's going to be something like 30-13, 34-17, something in there, just because this Washington offense hasn't been built for a ton of success against the best teams from the inside out. And the Washington defense, which I think is okay, hasn't performed well against these good teams. And so I just think there's too much from Oregon. There's a ton on the line for Oregon. Washington can certainly be up for playing spoiler, but I kind of think you need the dudes on both sides of the ball. And I just don't think Washington has that in this moment. Seattle's a tough place to play. I think we're close at the half as a viewing public, but I'm going to say Oregon runs away with this in the second half, forces a turnover or two, and quiets the crowd.
Yeah, Washington has good numbers, but has beaten exactly one FBS team with a winning record, and that's Illinois, which is 7-4. I already mentioned the stat about what they have done offensively against other top 10 caliber defenses in Ohio State and Michigan. So we'll see what they can do against an Oregon defense that's sort of in between those two. I do think the Washington defense is good enough to keep Oregon from running away with it, though.
Okay.
And, so I think that kind of keeps it in check. I also think the Oregon defense can just overpower this offense. And again, that would be more of a continuing trend given what we have seen with Washington against some other comparable defenses. I think Oregon eventually wins this game. I think it's going to end up being something like 28-13. I don't think it's going to be a runaway train or anything like that, but I do think Oregon's going to get the dub. I also think that this is the type of situation where Dan Lanning is going to want to try for style points if he can get them. I don't think he can, because I think this Washington defense is good enough. But if Dan Lanning has an opportunity, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes for it, because this is a dude who is absolutely built for any kind of hostile rivalry.
Yes.
This is the guy you want on your sidelines if you are playing in a game like this where there's just a modicum of hostility, you will take Dan Lanning on your sidelines. He's the type of dude who's going to get the boys fired up.
I wonder how much Jed Fish will try to throw the ball up and hope for a PI and use last week's USC as a blueprint, their opportunities and opportunistic nature
Still on this,
are
we?
those penalties. I just wonder if they're beat up at receiver.
Okay.
We'll see. No, this one should be fun. Dan Lanning will be up for it. It's a letdown spot for Oregon. I guess the good news if you're an Oregon fan, just situationally, is Washington played a late night game in LA. So it's not like Washington's coming off of a bye. It's not like Washington's coming off of a road game in which they're just sleeping in their own beds and getting to start their standard game planning week. So it is not a short week, but a shorter week than Oregon has in terms of prep. So there's something maybe there, but I think Oregon's the better team, and I think they have more ways to win. And so Washington's track record against quality defense isn't great, so going Oregon.
I also should point out, again, if I'm being honest, if we're trying to be complete with our coverage here,
Please.
talked about it a lot on yesterday's episode, maybe Lane Kiffin having his head in a different spot, maybe a different zip code altogether, depending on how that coaching search goes down. The current betting favorite at plus 110 to be the next head coach at the University of Florida is one Jed Fish.
Really?
Current betting favorite for whatever that is worth to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's worth a whole lot. But Lane right now is the betting favorite at minus 175 to be the next head coach at LSU. Jed Fish at Florida. Penn State with Bob Chesney. John Sumrall at Auburn. Eric Morris at Arkansas. Tommy Reese at UCLA.
Whoa.
Oklahoma State with Alex Golesh, and Cal with Tosh Lupoy.
Okay. Alex Golesh, Oklahoma State. Interesting. Okay. I'm sure these change. These are going to be
That is
fluid.
from betonline.ag, not a sponsor. Maybe they could be, but
I don't know.
for whatever that's worth to you, whatever those betting things are worth to you, just
Yeah.
throwing
All
that
right.
out there.
Interesting. Okay.
We're recording this on Tuesday midday. It's going to change 8 times by the weekend, but
Yeah.
food for thought. Let's
Agreed.
stay at 3:30 on ESPN. Number 14, Vanderbilt, at least in the latest polls. Number 20, Tennessee, per the latest polls. This is going to change again, but that's where we're at right now, time of recording. Tennessee favored by 3.5 points. We say often that styles make fights. This is an awesome contrast of play style. We've got Vandy, one of the slowest teams in all of college football. We've got Tennessee, one of the fastest. Specifically in this game, I think Vandy's going to play ultra slow. Ultra slow. And if they do it right, they're going to have like 41 minutes of possession.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to run clock. They're going to keep the ball. They're going to keep Tennessee off the field. They've been very good at doing this. Doesn't matter who they play. All year, been very, very good at this. If they have their druthers, this game's going to be over in like 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Greg Maddox game. Yeah.
That's the kind of game. It's exactly the kind of game they want to play. A lot of ground balls, not a ton of strikeouts, nothing sexy. They just want to run clock. Get ground balls. Let's move on. Tennessee's a 3.5 point favorite. Tennessee has also not beaten an FBS team with a winning record this season. Period. Wow.
Mighty
Their
SEC.
Their 3 losses were to good teams,
Mm-hmm.
right? Playoff caliber teams, Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma. It's not to say they've been getting blown out or anything crazy,
No.
right? But haven't beaten a team in the FBS with a winning record. That's a bit of an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah.
How do you
It
feel?
is. I went back and forth in this one a lot. Obviously, the home field advantage is enormous, but not so enormous that they're giving a ton of points here. Now, Vanderbilt's obviously very good as well. It's 3.5 points, which means that Vegas kind of thinks this is dead even.
Yep.
And so if it's relatively even, the outlook is relatively even, I think I might give a narrow edge to Diego Pavia at quarterback over Joey Aguilar. I think they both can run the ball. I think Tennessee's running backs are better when at full health.
Definitely. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Defensively, both of these teams leave a lot to be desired. Vanderbilt has signature wins against teams that, in retrospect, are like at best decent to me. Like we're building up the Vanderbilt season because of, a win against comfortable win against South Carolina, or a win against LSU, or a win against Missouri, and maybe a near win against Texas. But what is the signature 4-quarter win for Vanderbilt in this moment?
Well, in case you're wondering, Vanderbilt has a couple wins over FBS teams.
I know they do.
Winning record, but again, it's LSU. It's Missouri. Remember, Missouri's quarterback got hurt in that game. It's some close calls, like could have beaten Texas on the road.
They were there with Bama late. I agree.
Bama was there late, but in terms of signature wins, the signature win is probably what they did to Alabama last season, and we've since then been carrying on this momentum. They're a good team, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But more to the point here, if we're going to bring it up about Tennessee, we got to bring it up about Vanderbilt as well.
I totally agree. So then you're just like, if you think it's going to be relatively close, like I do, it's which of these quarterbacks, which of these offensive coordinators, which of these coaches do you trust more to make those decisions late to close out this game? And I think I'm going Vanderbilt here.
I mean, do you want to bet against Diego Pavia in his final regular season game? I believe it'll be his final regular season game. I think he said as much. He's not going to try for like a 15th year.
Right.
Potentially with a playoff spot hanging in the balance, because they're right there. There's a chance it could happen if they beat number 20 Tennessee, whatever they are in the latest college football playoff polls, which are going to come out after we record this episode. They could get a boost. They could get a boost and maybe jump some teams if they beat a fellow SEC competitor. So I don't want to bet against Pavia in a circumstance like that. I've got Vandy outright. I've got them outright. I think they're good enough to grind it out on the ground. I think they're good enough to get a few stops. And ultimately, I think this is a game of clock management, man. It's going to run the crap out of the ball. They're going to keep that clock running the whole damn time. Try to get revenge here on Tennessee. By the way, Tennessee won this game in Nashville last year.
Yeah, hammered them.
And Vandy hasn't won this game since 2018. So there are stakes in terms of Vanderbilt maybe being still in the hunt come Sunday for the college football playoff. There are definitely stakes just within the great state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
So give me Diego Pavia and the Doors here to pull the win.
I did notice, and you sort of started the season on this, that you highlighted that you like the yards before contact stat for a rush defense. Tennessee's is incredible. They get to these running backs very quickly. The numbers of yards after contact is abysmal. So they'll get to you. Good. They just won't tackle you. You can run through Tennessee arms at will, given the right circumstance. So that's something to pay attention to. Broken tackles and yards after contact for Vandy, who's been able to generate some of those chunk plays both through the air and on the ground. The Tennessee defense was a playoff caliber defense, obviously, last season. They're just not there this season. A lot of it is, attrition and injury and all the stuff that has gone into Tennessee's disappointing defense this season. But there's something about the way Vandy can close. They closed that shootout against Auburn when Auburn decided to suddenly start moving the ball with a different quarterback. I think they're going to be able to win in a similar fashion this week. 42-38 Vandy. Another back and forth.
Oh, that would be a fun game, wouldn't it?
It'd be great.
I don't think we're going to see that many points, but I think Vandy's going to win. I've got it at something like 28-27. I think it's going to be close. I think it'll be lower scoring.
Give me the points. Love them.
I want the points. I'm with you.
Yeah.
And let's talk about 7:30, the Iron Bowl. ABC, Alabama, -6 on the road at the Auburn Tigers. I am very wary of this game. I am wary of a de facto national championship situation for Auburn with really nothing else to play for. I am wary of DJ Durkin knowing that he probably needs this one if he even wants to sniff the opportunity of keeping this job. And I think those things make for a great rivalry matchup because Auburn's going to pull out all the stops, Dan.
Agreed.
Also, if they win, they get the 6 wins, which, bowl eligibility in a season like this where you fired your coach and it seems like none of it clicked. I don't know. It's not the worst consolation prize. So Auburn's playing for something here, and Alabama is too. Alabama is playing without a net. Alabama needs this win. They need this win on a whole multitude of different levels, which I can go into detail over, not the least of which is they want to play for the SEC crown.
Of course.
So you need a win here, Dan. Where are you at in this matchup?
I'm taking Bama. and I hate myself for it because it's on the road, but there is something about Auburn being better against the run than the pass. The points they allowed to Vanderbilt, that I think it's going to be too much to overcome against this Bama defense. That I think Bama should be able to move the ball through the air, not with ease, but with a good degree of comfort. And that has me scared about picking Bama, because to me it points to Bama. Now you're right about that, like Auburn with nothing to lose, Auburn with an interim, Auburn with backs against the wall, would love nothing more than to play spoiler in the Iron Bowl. They've done it before. They've nearly done it before recently. Bama needed a miraculous play a couple of years ago to win this game. I want to say at Auburn. But I think the matchup favors Alabama enough that I feel good about taking the Tide. The reason I like Auburn in this game is also at their best, and we've got basically no sample size to this degree. Last week with Deuce Knight against Mercer, and then the week before with Ashton Daniels, who I guess preserved his red shirt by not playing last week.
That's right.
With what he was able to do against Vanderbilt, like that's super intriguing. Two terrific receivers who can cause any defense trouble, and then a quarterback who seems more competent in this system than what they were working with basically the rest of the year. The problem is, in that Vanderbilt game, they were also completely lit up by Diego Pavia. Right. And I happen to think Ty Simpson is a more advanced thrower, maybe not a more advanced quarterback, a more advanced thrower right now in this moment, that he can generate big plays in a way with this offense that I think I'm here for. So I'm taking Bama. I don't love it situationally, but I can't craft the argument for Auburn with any sort of data beyond like, it would be cool. I could kind of squint and see how they could do this. There's dudes on this Auburn defense. I just think they're built to stop different kinds of offenses than what Bama is sort of intending here. So I have Bama covering.
Yeah, and to the point, like, Auburn hasn't really beaten anyone of merit. Unless you're counting Baylor in week 1. And maybe you do, I don't know. But
that was a golfers team, Ty.
It was a golfers team.
Who's
way
to
back
say?
when?
Yeah.
You ever see Hugh Freeze's golf swing, by the way?
How is it? No.
That is a man-made golf swing if I've ever seen one. Supposedly he's pretty good.
When you say man-made, that means it's awkward?
It means that whatever you see when you watch golf on a Sunday, like Rory McIlroy, it doesn't look anything like that. It's loopy and sort of herky-jerky. It's man-made.
Okay.
It's his own iteration of it. But supposedly it's pretty good.
Okay.
So swing your swing. Anyway, listen. The story of the Auburn season has basically been that they're within 10 points of every loss they've had. So Auburn's not getting blown out. There's enough talent on this team to avoid getting blown out.
Right.
They're just not winning. And that's part of why Hugh Freeze is no longer coaching this team and is probably out in the golf course right now. So I think if the trend holds, Alabama -6 is probably the right number. You can make a very easy case for that because Auburn's in these games. They just don't win. The obvious mismatch for me, is the Alabama passing offense against the Auburn pass defense. Right. And that jumps off the spreadsheet, man. I mean, that is bright red. Over the course of the season, Auburn's also been a very shaky tackling team. So you combine those two things, and it's not hard to find ourselves in the middle of a yak attack, which is something I just made up, and I'm sure other people have said before.
Congratulations.
But between Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard, get them the ball in space, let them do their thing. In theory, that should work pretty well for Auburn in this game.
You mean,
for that Alabama. Should work against Auburn. That should work for Alabama in this game. Yeah. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. The X factor, though, and I am intensely interested in this storyline, Deuce Knight. Deuce Knight played last week for Auburn at quarterback against Mercer. Your beautiful Mercer Bears.
Yes.
Went crazy. I like to read the post-game reports from our friend Cole Kubelik out on Twitter, where he goes through every SEC team, talks about what they did well, what they didn't do well, who caught his eye. And one of the things that caught his eye about Deuce Knight was how calm he looked. Again, it's just Mercer. I get it.
Yeah.
But very calm, knew when to pull the ball down, knew when to run it. I was a huge Deuce Knight fan through the recruiting process. And I was like crestfallen when he decommitted from Notre Dame. I really wanted Notre Dame to get him. I understand why he left. He wanted to play. I think he is absolutely the real deal. I know that Auburn's going to play multiple quarterbacks in this game. At least that's the early report. But I think Deuce Knight's running ability is something to watch when he's in there.
Okay.
Because he definitely brings an X factor to this game that clearly was not part of other Auburn games that we've talked about throughout the course of the season. Even looking back, wasn't part of any of those games. I think Auburn is going to do what Auburn does. And they're going to find a way to keep this game close and give themselves a shot to win.
Wow.
And bear in mind, this is a playoff caliber. This is an SEC championship caliber Alabama team. But this is still a dangerous Auburn roster. And they've got a ton of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn Tigers home dog of the week.
The Yakos home dog of the week.
Wow. I mean, I don't hate the pick. I really had to strain to figure out how I felt about this game just because the number of opponents that Alabama has played that you're like, this is the measuring stick. They beat this team by 14, by 24, whatever, and that tells me that they have another gear. I didn't see that often. Like the in retrospect season that Alabama has had is still kind of mixed to me. And so I don't feel like they're a machine on any level. I think it's a good matchup.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
I have Auburn outright.
Outright.
I have them 26-23 winning this game outright at home.
Wow. Okay. That'd be something. How does that affect the SEC?
Yes, there are absolutely SEC championship game implications all throughout this week. Here's what we'll say. Mathematically speaking, the odds are ever in the favor of Texas A&M, who is a slight favorite over Texas, and Alabama. Just talked about Alabama being a favorite over Auburn. All right? Alabama wins, they are in. Texas A&M wins, they are in. If one of those two teams loses, that's when things get a little bit murky, right? Right now, Georgia is a bit behind the eight ball because they lost to Alabama. They both have one loss in conference, but they're behind the eight ball because Alabama owns that head-to-head tiebreaker. So if you're a Georgia fan, if you want to play in the SEC title game, it'd be helpful if Alabama would lose. It's kind of the only way it can happen, okay? Also, if you're an Ole Miss fan, I'm not sure you're rooting at this point to get into that SEC championship game. Don't know if that really means anything to you personally. I'd prefer they not play in that game. But if Ole Miss wins on Friday, if Texas A&M loses, and if Alabama loses, if all of those things happen, that's how Ole Miss gets into the SEC championship game.
Wow.
All that clear? You got it.
I got it all.
Let's go through some of the other action here in Rivalry Week, Dan. We have a bunch of games. I want to go through these super rapid fire.
Okay.
In some cases, we just want to call out that there's a rivalry. Mm-hmm. These are fun games, man. Let's travel back in time if we can to Friday. A bunch of games here just to put on the radar. We previewed 3 big ones on the last episode. High noon, CBS. They call it the Heroes game. They play for the Heroes Trophy. It is the Iowa Hawkeyes minus 5.5 points on the road at Nebraska, Dan. I think Iowa is going to destroy Nebraska. I'm not sure I understand this point spread. I know, Iowa is not necessarily prone to big-time blowouts, but I'm just not sure where Nebraska's at right now. So give me Iowa.
Yeah, I'm with you here just because Nebraska's passing attack, not that Iowa's boasting anything of their own that's so terrific, but throwing into this Iowa defense, it would be highly poetic for Iowa to go 8-4 once again with 0 passing game, essentially. And throwing into this Iowa defense, I have Iowa by a couple touchdowns here.
Let's move on, Dan. Let's talk about Indiana versus Purdue. 7:30 NBC, the old Oaken Bucket. Indiana favored by 28.5 points. It'd be a great time for the Spoilermakers to jump in here.
Mm-hmm.
Great time for the Spoilermakers to jump in here and cause a stir. But any reason to go against Indiana here to win and cover?
There's a big drum, Ty. There's a big drum in play here. And Indiana cannot match drum size. No, I looked for reasons because Indiana's played a couple close games, but these are against teams with impressive defenses in Wisconsin and Penn State. And it wasn't even that close, obviously, against Wisconsin, but it was close for a stretch. I just don't think Purdue has it, and I don't see where the points are coming from. Like, even if somehow Barry Odom draws up an incredible game plan against Indiana, and Indiana looks like they're getting healthier and are getting guys back here, I still don't see a way for Purdue to get to like the 17 or 20 points if they're going to cover this spread. No, I have this something like 42-13.
I think I'm with you. Let's move on. Let's go to another big one, 9 p.m. on Fox. Arizona, minus a point and a half on the road against Arizona State in the Territorial Cup. The Territorial Cup might be my favorite trophy, if only because they lost it in a church basement in Tempe for like 100 years before they found it. Yep. And now they give out a replica to whoever wins this game. But this is a big one this year. You know, a year ago, I remember looking at this one like Arizona was a mess. We were talking like maybe they could even fire Brent Brennan in 1 year. But Arizona has rebounded in a really significant way. They're playing great defense. They're on the verge of 9-3. And Arizona State still sort of has an outside chance at making the Big 12 title game. I don't think it's likely, but there are possibilities that could put them in that circumstance. I'm all in on Arizona, man. I think they're playing with momentum right now. They're playing with confidence. I think the defense is super impressive. I like them to go on the road and win.
I think I do too. I don't trust the ASU passing game right now. And there's just something about the Arizona defense that is forcing mistakes, that is getting offenses off the field. And I don't know if they're running the ball well. Noah Fafita has limited the mistakes. I just think they've been good home and away. Obviously, there's a lot of emotion tied up in this game. Jordan Tyson came back for ASU, obviously a feather in their cap against, I think it was Colorado last week, had a couple bigger catches. So that's something in terms of a help for Jeff Sims in this ASU passing game. I just think right now the Arizona defense is the best thing in this game, and it's who I trust the most. And I think they're winning this one again outright. I think doubt Arizona at your own peril.
Let's go to Saturday, high noon, ESPN, number 5, Texas Tech, minus 20.5 points on the road at West Virginia. Any danger here for Tech?
Yes, but not for 4 quarters. I could see, I mean, look, West Virginia is well coached. They found a quarterback this season in Scotty Fox to succeed. I don't know. The Texas Tech defense is just too good for me. I think it's going to travel. They had a bye week last week, if I remember correctly, so it seems like an opportune bye situation to get rested for their home stretch of the season with, with the Big 12, probable Big 12 championship game, winning this game, and what looks like a playoff berth. I mean, I don't know how they'd really have to collapse to not make the playoff at this point. So I'm going Texas Tech pretty huge in this one because that's the track record we have with them.
It is, yeah, and I think I'm with you. I don't know if I'd feel great about laying basically 21 points.
It's a lot. It's a lot in Morgantown, tough place to play, but I'm just not there with West Virginia.
I'm not there with West Virginia. I think Tech wins, and all they do to get into that Big 12 championship game is win. Right, you win, everything's good.
Yeah.
So right now the likely game in the Big 12 championship is looking like Texas Tech against BYU. The odds are kind of all on that side. BYU clinches with the win. Texas Tech clinches with the win. Obviously, Arizona State could get in, but they got to beat Arizona. They need Texas Tech to lose. They need Utah to lose. They need BYU to win. Or they need to win. They need BYU to lose and Utah to lose. Or if Arizona State wins, they need Texas Tech to lose and BYU to lose and Utah to win. So there's a lot that could go on. Even Utah could get in. Yeah. I'm not going to talk through any more of these. It doesn't lend itself well to the audio-only format, but just know that right now, if you're a Texas Tech fan, you got the inside track. If you're a BYU fan, you got the inside track. Let's go to high noon, ACC Network, Kentucky on the road at Louisville. They called this one the Governor's Cup, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville favorite. I'm not sure why. I am on Kentucky. I'm worried that Louisville might be the 1-2-3 Cancun team of the week right now with all their injuries and I don't know, just what we saw from them a week ago.
Yeah, I looked at this one and saw the sound I made when I saw the line, when I saw this matchup was, I don't know how you quantify that sound, but yeah, I am going to go with Kentucky apprehensively, but I'm going Kentucky just because I think the best of the improvement of their offense and where Louisville is in terms of, as you mentioned, injuries and roster right now, I think I'm going Kentucky. The second half of the season has been nice for Kentucky. Last week, not ideal. Yeah, I'm going Cats here.
12 o'clock, high noon, SEC Network, the Paul Meadow Bowl. Dan Clemson at South Carolina. South Carolina favored by 2.5 points at home. I have no idea. Let me just be real with you. I have no idea who to pick in this game. I get the point spread. Should be a close point spread. I don't know what to make of Clemson. I do not know what to make of South Carolina right now. So I could be swayed one way or another. How about I just go opposite of you? So
I'm going to go South Carolina. Yeah, I'm going to go South Carolina at home. I think, once again, winning is a skill that Clemson doesn't currently possess all that often. If this game is relatively close, because both of these teams are pretty flawed, I think what South Carolina could potentially do on defense to force mistakes is interesting. I like that we're a little bit removed from the Texas A&M moment for South Carolina, but you could still see the best of South Carolina on display in that game. They haven't been blown out, as it's been a very disappointing season, but they do compete. They have stayed locked in, even though it's been a pretty horrendous experience this year, I'm sure, for South Carolina fans and for Clemson fans. The game's at home. Game is still massively important. I'm going South Carolina.
Let's go to 3:30 Battle Line Rivalry. This one also on SEC Network. This is Missouri -2.5 on the road at Arkansas. Give me Mizzou. I think they might run for 500 yards against Arkansas.
Yeah, this is a great matchup because they get the Arkansas defense. And anytime anybody has the Arkansas defense, it's a great matchup. So I'm going Mizzou here.
3:30 FS1, Wisconsin at Minnesota. Minnesota favored, but only slightly. They play this one for Paul Bunyan's Axe. Is Wisconsin having a little bit of a rebirth right now? Is this something that we're actually seeing, or are they just playing bad teams?
Well, they beat Illinois, did they not? Mere days ago?
I mean, maybe you think Illinois is a bad team. I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't think Illinois is bad. I thought they were overrated heading into the season. I think the Wisconsin defense is legitimately good. They've given a lot of teams trouble, at least for long stretches of the game. I like Wisconsin here. Minnesota as a story, as a team this year, it's flown under the radar a little bit, but in the Axe game, I'm kind of always going to feel good about Wisconsin. But they've flown under the radar as one of the more disappointing teams. They don't really do anything well. They had the win against Nebraska, which I thought was largely situational, with Nebraska coming off that I think was a close comeback win against Maryland and staying on the road in a short week. But aside from that, I think Minnesota is one of the more under the radar disappointing programs this season. So I'm going Wisconsin here. I think they've got momentum and belief. Even though the offense isn't going to do much, I don't think it'll take much.
This is the point in time where I mentioned that I do have pre-scheduled, as I have since the very beginning of this season.
That's true.
The Minnesota Golden Gophers support call, a Zoom call that all are welcome to attend, December the 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be me, and it will be Gophers fans from around the good old US of A, and frankly, the globe, depending on time zones. If you are interested in being part of that call, you can email me. I have not sent out all the invites yet, but I'm looking at it right now on my calendar. I have not forgotten about it. If you emailed, I will find you, and we will make sure you have the link. Okay?
Is this sort of Gophers Anonymous? Is that going to be the name? Like, hi, my name is Mike. I'm a Minnesota grad, 2007. Hi, Mike. Is it going to be that kind of vibe?
I mean, sure. Yeah. It can be whatever we want it to be. But I just thought it would be appropriate to recognize this fan base, which I feel like is in this same exact spot every year.
Yeah.
And I am in that spot too, because I've been rooting for this team. Okay. This is, again, I say this all the time. It is not a dunk contest. I feel for Minnesota people because I am rooting for Minnesota. And I think we're always here. I'm going Wisconsin as well. I'm with you.
Just so we have this on the record, Sky U Mononymous.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. I like it.
Okay.
3:30 on Fox. Cincinnati at TCU. TCU favored by about a field goal. Cincy has lost 3 straight now, haven't they?
They have.
I'm on TCU.
I'm on TCU as well. They stopped the run. It's a good matchup for them. Game's at home, right?
Games at home, yeah.
Games in Fort Worth. I'm going TCU at home. Their defense hasn't been great this year, but I like that they were able to get a quality win against, I believe, Houston last week in a low-scoring affair. So anytime TCU doesn't give up a ton of points to a quality team, I think to myself, maybe, just maybe, they could do it 2 weeks in a row. And that's why I'm a fool. No, I'm going TCU here. I think they're able to get it done at home.
Victory Bell game, 4:30 NBC, UCLA at USC. USC favored by 21 points.
It's a lot of points on a letdown spot for USC.
That's a lot of potatoes.
That's a lot of potatoes.
I really was looking for reasons to take UCLA in the points. Not outright, but taking the points. UCLA has been abysmal lately. They've been blown out. They were blown out by Washington at home. This game's, obviously in LA. It's always in LA-ish. I'm going USC here to cover. I just think they're going to be able to force mistakes. As much as it is a letdown spot, as disappointing as last week was for the Trojans, I think this is a game they're always going to be up for. So I think especially on the ground, they're going to be able to dictate a good amount.
Yeah, give me USC. I'm on USC here. Okay, a couple more games, and then we'll round third, head for home on this rivalry week. We've got Florida State also at 4:30. They call it the Sunshine Showdown. It's on ESPN2. Florida is favored by about a field goal, Dan, over Florida State. Florida State announced earlier this week that they are retaining Mike Norvell. I don't know if that has any bearing whatsoever in this football game, but it's worth noting. We will see which direction that Florida decides to go. Obviously, a lot of that hinges on what Lane Kiffin decides, Dan. Who you got?
Florida State here. I do like Florida State. I know they can and have lost in comical ways, but I don't know. Florida just seems so snake-bitten in this moment that part of being snake-bitten is going to be defined by losing to this year's Florida State, in which everybody is begging for Norvell to be fired, and he's kept, and Florida can't even beat them. I'm going Florida State.
I'm on Florida, man. I'm on Florida. I'm still tantalized by the talent that they've got on that roster, even despite the fact that it's gone way off the rails. Give me the Gators at home. Why not?
Okay.
Couple more games. ESPN, 7 o'clock, Commonwealth Cup. Virginia Tech at Virginia. Remember, Virginia wins. They're in, baby. Going to the ACC title game. Great season regardless, but against all odds, you go to the ACC title game with a shot at the playoff. That's a very, very big deal. They are favored by about 11 points at home against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech just made it official. They're going to be getting James Franklin. Still feels very weird to me.
Yep.
So I don't know if maybe they're playing for the upset here, playing for their new coach, trying to make an impression. I don't know if that's even a thing now in the era of the transfer portal, but probably not. I am going to go Virginia here to seal the deal, but not to cover. Not to cover. I think the Hoos will get the win, and they are at home. But I think Virginia Tech, with the opportunity to maybe play spoiler, makes this game interesting for a good chunk of time.
I'm with you. I think Virginia winning this game outright is a no-brainer. They're coming off of a bye week, a great time to get healthier. Love the win against Duke. I like Virginia here a good amount, but I think Tech makes it close.
7:30, the Land of Lincoln Trophy. You going to this game? You should.
This game is in Champaign or at Wrigley?
It's in Champaign, I believe.
Then I am not going to this game, no.
I actually don't know. I should have looked at that. But regardless, we've got Illinois listed as the home team, a 6.5-point favorite over Northwestern. Give me Illinois, baby.
Lock of the week.
I think they may murder Northwestern in this game.
I don't know, man. Illinois is not great.
You think Northwestern's great?
I mean, they scored 38 points last week going to a bowl game.
Against Minnesota.
I mean, Illinois just lost to Wisconsin. I'm just going to take the points in this one. I'm just happy to take the points. I just think Northwestern will ugly it up enough. The good linebackers, they've been able to move the ball more and more. I think they ugly it up just enough to cover.
Illinois is going to win this one by like 14 points.
Okay.
Probably a stretch to say that they're going to murder them, but I don't know. I'm not in on Northwestern here. 8 p.m. ESPN2, SMU minus 10.5 points on the road at Cal. Cal just fired the coach.
Yep.
That definitely works to SMU's favor as they go to the hinterlands. SMU wins, and they are also in to that ACC championship game. Right now, I feel, just from my vantage point, from my chair as a former SMU superfan circa 2024, if I am betting on SMU winning the ACC and going to the college football playoff. Right now, it feels like they've got a lot of momentum. They had a nice win a week ago by 32 points over Louisville. I think SMU goes. I think they get the job done on the road at Cal. Don't know where Cal's going to be at, given now that they lost the coach. I think they win. I think they cover, and I think they go to that ACC title game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think SMU is just rounding into shape too successfully right now on both sides of the ball, and the Cal defense is just tasty. So I'm going to go with SMU here as well.
9 p.m. CBS Sports Network. UNLV minus 9.5 points on the road at Nevada. I just brought this one up because it's the battle for the Fremont Cannon.
Yep.
An awesome name, an awesome rivalry story. If you go and read about the battle for the Fremont Cannon, I tried to include a couple of those here as we talk through them all. There are a bunch more, but all of these rivalry games, I would say pretty much without exception, have very bizarre trophies or very bizarre origin stories that are definitely worth reading up on if you're into college football, and this is definitely one of them. Give me UNLV minus the number. I like UNLV a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
And last but certainly not least, 10:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. Number 9 Notre Dame minus 33 points on the road at Stanford. Dan, they play for the Legends Trophy. There is no good reason to think that Notre Dame's not going to run this one up on Stanford, but some of us are old enough to remember Stanford ruining Notre Dame's seasons of yore.
Yeah.
So give me Notre Dame minus the number, Notre Dame minus whatever. I think they continue the trend. I think they know style points matter. They got a bunch of them last week. I'm looking for more this week against the Cardinals.
You don't think the ghost of Stephen Taylor actually
I'm
crossing
worried about
the
the
goal
ghost.
line?
I'm worried about the ghost, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Notre Dame as well. Stanford defensively, although they have taken a step forward, it isn't a kind of a letdown spot after the big win, the big game, or the game against Cal.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go Notre Dame here. By the way, should also mention, we've got New Mexico, San Diego State with real Mountain West implications.
Yep.
Huge game. Absolutely watching that game. And Thursday night, we have Navy Memphis, do we not?
Huge American Conference implications there.
Yes, and I think Memphis has won something like 5 of 6, but the 6th tie, you've got to go all the way back to 2024 with Navy dropping like 56 points or something on Memphis. Memphis with a week off, they've lost 2 in a row. I'm going to go with Memphis at home to get things right against Navy. But this is must-watch as well Thursday night.
Yeah, man, Thursday night TV. If you're digesting the turkey or whatever you eat on Thanksgiving, if you celebrate, flip this game on. It does have title implications. There are 3 teams basically with a shot still in the American, those being Tulane and North Texas. Tulane and North Texas both have the inside track, but Navy could definitely play a part as well. It would come down to, it would require, I should say, a 3-way tie that would take into account playoff rankings and all sorts of jazz. Right. People don't really care about that enough for me to talk through all the scenarios, though I have them in front of me. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that right now, if you're in North Texas, if you're a Tulane fan, you stand to be in a very beneficial position should you just do what you're supposed to do and win this weekend.
But also, if you don't care about the NFL, everybody's going to be watching Navy Memphis. Good for them.
Everyone's going to be watching
spotlight.
Navy Memphis. Absolutely.
Love that for them.
Okay. Go out to dinner on Saturday. Go out to dinner on Saturday if you need to. If you feel like me, maybe you didn't do enough to prepare the house for hosting on Thanksgiving. And if you're a little bit worried that your wonderful, beautiful wife named Kate may have an axe to grind with you.
Could be anybody. Could be anybody he's talking about.
I'm just using an example here.
Yeah.
If you might be in a situation like that, maybe consider taking whoever out for a wonderful dinner on Saturday evening, but just make sure you're back at a respectable hour because I think the Iron Bowl is going to be weird. Obviously, I picked Auburn to win the game outright.
Where would you say somebody with a wonderful, beautiful wife, Kate, was most negligent in their Thanksgiving prep? Are you expected to dust, vacuum, mop, Swiffer? Dishes?
We've put a list together now. I was really good about it last year. Last year I was on the ball.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know this week was Thanksgiving until like Saturday afternoon.
Great. That's okay.
Because, like we're so in the world here and kind of doing this thing. And I looked at the calendar. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a problem. So I have been negligent on multiple fronts. I have been trying to make up for lost time. I am going to work my ass off on Wednesday to make sure that everything is spick and span and in top-notch shape. We do have the sheet, the spreadsheet that I'm going to work off of as well. So I'm doing my part, but this is not about me. This is about the Verballerhood.
That's true.
And so if you are in that situation and if you feel like you need to pay back the hard work of a partner or a friend or whoever, the time to go and get out, be amongst the people would not be on Friday. Don't go during Black Friday. That's a zoo.
Yeah.
But go on Saturday, go to a nice dinner. Go early afternoon before the restaurants fill up, and then get back in time to see the end of the Iron Bowl.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. And get that shopping in early.
Get it in early. Yeah. Okay.
We don't have any Black Friday specials, do we?
Us? No, we don't.
Okay. All right.
This is the Black Friday special. You're getting this for free.
Cool. Love it.
Dan Rubenstein, safe travels back home.
Thank you.
To your neck of the woods in the Chicago burbs. I believe you'll be hopping on the bird tomorrow. We're recording this on Tuesday.
Yep.
Headed back home. So we'll see you in your normal studio on Saturday night when we do our recap episode live on YouTube. Don't forget to tune in, hit subscribe so that you can chat along with everybody. Give us a call at 855-VERBAL-3. One bit of housekeeping on the reverbs.
I'm ready.
I haven't talked about this with you. I haven't really talked about this with anybody. Typically, over the long run of our reverbs, the last reverb segment of every season is at the conclusion of rivalry week. We don't get the same level of passion for conference championships. Half the time, people aren't even watching them. Unless your team's involved or you're a college football sicko like us, but we just don't have the same amount of fervor. Nobody does. Nobody who does this does. That's true once we get to bowl season, once we get to the playoffs. It's just a fewer number of teams that are participating. We've got a subset as opposed to the whole college football watching public. I am considering retiring the reverbs permanently.
Whoa.
Permanently.
Why? What you thinking here?
Takes a lot of work to put them together.
Yeah.
Shea busts his ass late at night to put them together for little to no pay just because he likes them.
Everybody else has already copied the idea that we
Everybody
had
else
in
has already
2008, 2009. Yeah.
Like all of our other segments that people copy and take as their own.
Yep.
The reverbs has been copied time and time again. The reverbs itself was copied from sports radio back in the day. So we just kind of put our spin on it. And since then, other people have iterated on it as well. Mm-hmm. Again, as they have all of our bits, but that's fine. I'm just thinking that we might be able to use that segment in 2026 in some other way. We still want to make sure that the Verballerhood is included.
Can we, and I'm just throwing out ideas here, there are no bad ideas. Can we do a weekly reverb next season, but open up the reverb line only if you can prove your name is Susan and you live in Stillwater, Oklahoma, or only if your name is Larry and you live in Tacoma, Washington, or only if your name is Brad and you live in Minneapolis?
I'm not sure we have the bandwidth for that level of verification.
Fair enough. Okay, interesting to think about.
I'm not saying we're going to get rid of the reverb line.
Right.
But the reverb segment, like people don't even, there's only a very small number of people on this planet.
Yeah.
That understand the level of effort to put that together.
That's true with that timing.
Quickly.
Yeah.
That late at night.
So you might as well get it in now.
Get it in, man. Yeah.
That's what Ty has been saying all season long.
Been saying
when
it all
in
year,
doubt,
man.
Ty Hildenbrand says you got to get it in.
855-VERBAL-3 is the number.
Yeah.
This could be your last chance.
Could be.
Give us a buzz. Leave us a voice message as you're watching the games on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday. And we'll do our recap on Sunday and include that. Okay.
Can't wait.
ForBallers.com is where you can go if you want to sign up to play and run the board, get an opportunity to win that $500 gift card and the golden ticket. Of course, ForBallers.com is where you can go if you want to add free episodes, bonus content. As part of the bonus content that we're putting out this week, we're doing some reruns. We're going to replay the history of the Solid Verbal episode that we did in 2017, as well as the Mysterious Day Job special that we recorded July 2021 when I left the day job to focus on this madness.
Those are great all-time episodes.
Two of them. Get two of them this week.
Man. Well, the what's it called that hasn't been public, right? Neither the Mysterious Day Job one is not public.
That's not public. The history is, I'm just going to rerun that for people who subscribe and maybe can't find it.
Right.
But yeah, Mysterious Day Job special is just going to be a retread.
Love it.
Dan Rubenstein, safe travels back. Happy Thanksgiving to one and all. If you celebrate out there, thank you again for making us part of your college football experience. We will be back on Saturday night at midnight Eastern time. We're going to recap the conclusion of the college football regular season.
Yes.
For that guy there, Dan Rubenstein. For myself, Ty Hildebrand. We'll talk to you all soon. Stay solid.
Peace.